Hi, my name is Donna Hovey, and I'm going to take you through getting a new Mimix installation up and running. I have two LPARs. One's called iSeries A, one's called iSeries B. I did the Mimix installation on both of them already, so I will show you the work with product screen. You're going to have License Manager in Library Lakeview for any products that you install, any Precisely product, because License Manager handles the installation process and the license keys and product level authority. Um, and I'm just going to show you how to get to that main menu. If you could just do Lakeview/License Manager. And then I'm going to check our license keys, option 3. So we do have, this is the main one for Mimix, but we do have one that's for multi-management as well. If you have a C1 here, you're also capable of multi-management. So I'm going to make both of these LPARs management systems, which basically means that we could do configuration on either system and all status updates are going to be sent to both systems. Um, and then to get to the Mimix main menu, it's just Mimix/Mimix. Option 11 to do the configuration menu. So the first thing we're going to do is create our system definitions and then our transfer definition. So option 1, F6. The Mimix system definition can be called anything, really. It does not have to match the actual system name. It does not have to match the host name. So I'm just going to call this A. And like I said, we're going to do type of management. The primary transfer definition is, I'm going to leave as the default primary. Hit F10, page down. Really, the only thing to be concerned with is the keep criteria. So there's several of those. I'm not going to get into the details on what each of these mean, but I like to keep a few days worth at least. And then I'm just going to mention this parameter, this product library, that's used for intra. So if I was creating a system definition for intra, this would have to be the installation name with the I at the end. But we're not. So that's set to default. Hit enter. And as you can see, it automatically creates some journal definitions, which I'll show you in a moment. But let's go ahead and create system B. And I'm going to make this system also management. Okay, so I have my two system definitions. And if you do a work journ definition and just take the defaults, you can see that QA journ was automatically created. This is just the Mimix journal definition. The actual QA journ already exists on the system. But it does create a couple more journal definitions. So if you prompt on this command and indicate used by process star all, you can see that it also created some other journal definitions, but these are used internally with Mimix, so you don't need to be concerned about those journals. Okay, so we have our system definitions. Next, we need to do our transfer definition, which defines how it's going to communicate between the systems. And I'm going to use host name. So first, we're going to look at our host table entries. So you need to have the host defined on both sides, and then the local system that you're on needs to have a fully qualified name as well. So you can see here that I have my iSeries A defined and my iSeries B. Let's just double check iSeries B for the host table. Make sure that's set correctly, and it is. I have my fully qualified name listed for iSeries B. So that looks good. Let's go back over to iSeries A. So transfer definition, F6, we called it primary in our system definition, so we have to call it primary. And these are our system names. So here's where you put in the host name or IP address. I use my host names. The port you can use the default port, or you can change it a little bit, but it needs to be available in the network, of course. I'm just going to leave the default. Page down, hit F10. I recommend just leaving all of these parameters as defaults, because once this gets created on this system, it's going to create an auto start job entry in the Mimix subsystem, and that's not going to occur on the target because it's not communicating yet, so the transfer definition doesn't exist over there yet. So we have to manually start that server over there. And then the directory entry, we can generate the name, and it will look at the local RDB entry on both sides and automatically fill in the correct name there. So it looks good. Hit enter. All right. So we have our transfer definition. Now we can start up the Mimix subsystem on both sides. Pretty sure they're not active. Nope. It's in Mimix QGPL. Let's get it started over here. So on iSeries A, this is where all the config is. It's going to automatically start my port job because it has that auto start job entry. These are all monitor jobs, which I'm not going to get into right now, but we just want to make sure that a port job's active. So let's go over to iSeries B. See what we got active there. So notice we don't have a port job here. So we're going to have to manually start it doing a start server command. And we're using host names. So, I mean, this has to equal what's in our transfer definition. So we're on iSeries B, and we're going to use that port. Make sure that's active. Go back over to your iSeries A, because you need to start from the system that you did all the configuration on. And we're going to just do the command start Mimix manager and prompt on it. I'm just going to start the bare minimum because this is the first time and I want to make sure it communicates first before starting all of this. If you hit F10, there's a couple more parameters. Start cluster services. If you don't have clustering on your system, this really doesn't matter anyways. That's why the default is yes. Reset configuration, you shouldn't hardly ever have to use. And since this is the first time starting up the managers, it's going to basically do a reset anyways. So I'm going to hit enter. And this will take a minute. It needs to send a journal receiver over to the target system. Okay. So that command came back. This message is normal. But to see the status, let's just do a work sys. And you can see that everything, as far as the managers go, is active on system A. So this looks correct for what I started. So I'm just going to do an option 9 and then take defaults to start up the rest of the managers. You see everything is blue now. And I just want to show you the system manager jobs. Go back into the Mimix subsystem. So this should have started a couple jobs on each system. These are the system manager jobs. One is for high priority. The SHB is for high priority communications, and the SLB is for low priority communications. If I look on my iSeries B, I'm going to have one that ends with A over here. So that all looks good. And this job automatically gets started, but goes away once it's done with its cleanup. So that is all I'm going to go over in this video. The next steps would be to create your application group, and then your data resource groups, and then your data group definitions. So that'll be in a separate video. Thanks for listening.